Now, if you're wondering what the Wolf of Saturn 6 is like in the Steel Path, then this is him. Hard mode Wolf will eat your bullets for breakfast. Forget your Weetabix, forget your Shreddies, and of course, if you eat Lucky Charms or you're just going to be a dick in the comment section, those as well. Bullets are the Wolf's source of fibre. Granted, we didn't strip his armour first time around. We did, however, second time with 2 Rage Valkyrs and a Shattering Impact Sarpa, which allowed us to kill him much quicker. However, put Wolf to one side, it is a fair reflection of what you can expect with the new Steel Path hard mode. Enemies are basically bullet sponges if, I guess, it goes live in this state. Don't get me started on the Archwing missions either. Those were literally like having your teeth pulled out. Like I said, this was on the test cluster, so hopefully some things will be changed before this goes live sometime later this week based on player feedback. And I will share my full thoughts on my experience of this test cluster at the end of the video. Now, Steel Path is going to be optional, right? You don't have to do it. It will be for players who want to put themselves up against harder to kill enemies. But for some reason, Digital Extremes have not just added plus 100 levels onto enemies for the Steel Path, they have also given them armor and shield sorting modifiers as well. So double health, augmented shields and augmented armor, plus that 100 level jump as well. Remember a couple of months ago when Digital Extremes drastically reduced enemy health and armor values to that S curve for scaling? While Steel Path in the test cluster was like before that change plus some more on top of it. This means that your primary and secondary weapons, for the most part, a very large amount of those weapons feel almost useless. Whole magazines being pumped into heavy units just for what looks like chip damage. It means that melee will likely be your best option if it goes live like this in this state. It will mean that a new meta will be created just to allow us to traverse the Steel Path star chart. Old school stripping armor techniques will probably see a revival, and only your best weapons and best mod setups will make this much less of a challenge. So you're going to have that bonus 100 levels on every mission node throughout the star chart as you progress through the new Steel Path, as well as double the health values, as well as augmented shields, and as well as augmented armor on those enemies. But what about the bonuses of running this mode? What are the rewards? Why should you risk these missions? There are ship decorations and emotes, which I know everyone's cheering for right now. That's one of the rewards, but also there is an increase to infinity because of a higher level of enemy. So you could level weapons or warframes faster, except that those enemies have augmented armor and augmented shields, so good luck killing anything with unmodded low ranked weapons unless you are high mastery level and it is actually a good weapon that you're trying to level. Increased affinity will be something you will be getting because of those levels, double resources, increased mod drop chances, and mastery for each mission node completed. But they could have added rewards to make this, I guess, new game mode more enticing to the player base. Right now it's not very, I guess, to a lot of players. You're probably thinking of those rewards and thinking, yeah, I'm just not going to bother. You'd like the mastery, but you just can't be bothered going up against that level of tanky enemy. Teshin is kind of behind this whole Steel Path, so they could have added Conclave Standing, they could have added the Conclave skins that I know a lot of players in the community would really love to get their hands on without actually having to do Conclave, so that's one thing the community would jump at getting, right? They could have added possibly maybe an Umbral Forma for completing the new Steel Path star chart, add specific armor or Cyandanas to say that you completed it as well, add boss specific weapon skins for killing a boss in the Steel Path. These are just ideas off the top of my head. I'm sure a lot of you have way better ideas of what you would have loved to have seen, but they did say it wasn't endgame, it's just an optional game mode if you wanted to go down the Steel Path. So maybe I'm just wanting something that we're never going to have. Now, my honest opinions or my honest thoughts on the game mode, the test cluster that I got to experience was, hopefully we will see some changes. The Steel Path is literally you prestiging your star chart and running it all over again. Every node, every mission, every boss. Certain mission types won't be in the Steel Path though. Fissures, arbitrations, syndicate missions and so on. They will stay as the normal mission variant. But another change that needs to be made is that end of mission rewards in Steel Path, don't scale. Well, in the test cluster they didn't, but maybe that will change once this goes live. It meant that if you ran a level 5 mission and got 2000 credits as a reward, then you went and you ran the same mission in the Steel Path at level 105, you would still get 2000 credits as a reward, or possibly 50 endo or 15 endo or something incredibly bad, which absolutely sucks. And I'm sure it's an easy fix, and it might happen when this actually goes live later this week. And I know that's not counting the bonus resources that you will gain from just simply running the mission, because it has got increased resource gains added to the Steel Path, so you can get more if you want to. Just the end of mission rewards don't scale, and it feels a little bit off. The augmented armor on enemies feels pretty overkill in a lot of missions, but at the same time I didn't overly hate it. I kind of enjoyed testing different weapons to see which ones could take out these incredibly spongy enemies. I'm not sure how it will feel as I progress further into the star chart. I guess if it would start to kind of grind on me or bring on burnout that little bit faster. But at the same time, like I said, I didn't overly hate it, except for the Archwing missions and of course certain boss encounters. The Archwing missions were terrible. Literally, it was taking minutes to kill whole ships. Just one ship, you know, and you're jumping into an exterminate mission to kill a lot of ships, which is an absolute nightmare. Now imagine Kayla the Thame with augmented armor and double health values at level 100 plus. Imagine Sargus Rook, the new Jackal fight, the Elephantis fight. Hell, Sergeant might take 2 shots to kill now instead of 1, so I guess hard mode Sergeant will still be easy to kill. Now, one concern I have for this Steel Path is that because enemies are so heavily augmented in terms of armor and shields, is that certain weapons are going to see a drastic increase in usage. And the history of Warframe has taught us one thing, is that when weapons tend to become overly popular for whatever reason, they tend to, nerf them, or take a look at them and see why they're being used so much and tend to tweak them down a little bit so that it's not, the whole player base all jumping to that one weapon, because that one weapon is getting everything done. Word will get out and shared around that certain Warframes and weapons make this much easier with particular builds, and that's going to see an increase, or a huge increase in popularity. There will definitely be some of you out there saying, look, we wanted hard mode, we got hard mode, so complaining about enemies being hard to kill is foolish. And to some degree you're right, it definitely is. But if most of our primary weapons and our secondary weapons take multiple magazines of bullets to kill one Xmas heavy unit in the Steel Path, then to me that's a clear sign of overkill, and a clear sign that something needs tweaking just a little bit to allow us, more wiggle room with weapon types. I'm not talking about the few meta weapons, because of course the powerful weapons are still going to shine through, but if weapons that nuke normal level 180 enemies in seconds are taking several magazines to kill an augmented one, then something just feels a little bit off. But again, this was a test cluster, and hopefully changes will be made before it goes live later this week, and hopefully this Steel Path mode isn't something that just gets dropped to the game and abandoned, just another island of content forgotten about and ignored once it's been added for a few weeks. Hopefully more things get added to it in future, but again, time will tell. If you've played the Steel Path cluster, share your thoughts in the comment section below. Like the video or don't, subscribe or don't, and as always, thanks very much for watching.